Hello, I'm the Billings Bandit. I'm going to do another review today. This one was actually requested by a buddy of mine from the place I used to work, so I'm going to get it out of the way because it's the worst of the three reviews I have to do tonight. The movie is The Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, starring Who Gives a Fuck, I Don't Know That One, and some hot bitch. I'm not saying this because I hate all actors or because I hate these actors. I'm saying because this movie sucked. It sucked so much it actually kind of sucked the life out of me as I was watching it. There's just no way to make it fun to watch, even if you like try to invent a drinking game based on it. That means you have to watch it enough times to come up with some cohesive rules for the drinking game. The shit starts out with three fucking scouts and a scoutmaster. So that's all the scouts in the movie total. Scoutmaster's played by David Koechner, and he's wasted in this movie, completely wasted. I actually would rather have watched the Final Destination that he was in than watch this. But there was three scouts, and of course two of them are too cool for scouts, but they're staying in it for the one lame kid who really likes scouts. Now this inherently isn't a terrible premise, but they just do nothing with it. All the fight scenes are stupid. They're done like old school Romero style, where you're like watching the zombie hold the person's shoulders, and the person's holding the zombie's shoulders and trying to throw it into something, and it's stupid. And it's boring, and it gets so old. There are some pretty gruesome death scenes, but you always feel like you're just waiting too long to get to them, especially if they're the only point in watching the fucking movie. And then the heroes, somewhere towards the end, just inexplicably become these badass superhero zombie killers. I'll give you a rundown from it as best I remember, but I'm not rewatching this shit to get a better grasp of the story. It starts out with them all in the woods talking about which badges they need to get, and it's clear the fat one has way more badges than the other two, who are basically just dicking around in the forest. And then it has them just go into school, and they're still wearing the scouts uniforms, and of course, they're being made fun of. Of course they are. I would fucking have made fun of them. They're wearing scouts uniforms in school. Fucking wear a change of clothes. And when they finally do change their clothes, their fucking clothes are not that much better. It's too clear that they're out of place, especially considering they're the two who don't want to be scouts anymore. There's a couple of scenes showing that the sister of one of the scouts who wants to get out of it is actually the love interest of the other scout, his like best friend. So you got your love interest right there. And then at random, some time in like the first 45 minutes, he meets this blonde chick who works at a strip club and is just completely blown away by her, but not in a like I love you way, and just like a wow, she's really cool way. And she's one of the first people who shows up after the zombie outbreak. Now, I neglected to mention an opening scene, and it's because I was going to get to it right now. The opening scene is one of the douchebags from that show Workaholics, the one with the frizzy long hair. He's basically being thrown around by a zombie while a scientist is trying to get a vending machine to take his dollar. It seemed like a kind of funny joke. I didn't find myself laughing at it, but like I didn't realize how much worse the movie would get after that. So that's our first taste of the zombie, and the next taste of the zombie you see is this fucking zombified deer attacking David Koechner, and he stabs it in the eyeball with a knife. And like it's bad. Like the scene is bad. The animatronics on the deer are bad. As soon as he beats the deer, he starts walking backwards, and he walks right into a zombie who immediately kills him. So there goes your David Koechner for this movie. The only time we're going to see him from now on is in zombie form. Now, of course, he fucking isn't the only person turned zombie, so it's starting to take over the town. These scouts just proceed to go through a series of, oh, I have an idea of where we can go. Oh, wait, that's not going to work. Ooh, I know what we could do. Shit, that's not going to work because of this. What about the party we need to get to tonight? It's like a lot of it's just confusing and stupid, and it's just an excuse to move them around. And when the fucking zombies finally are like, they're aware of them, they know that they're coming and everything bad has happened, the government just shows up and totally bails them out of there. And instead of leaving with the government, the guy who's driving the government vehicle just turns into a zombie at random, and they're back to fucking trying to get to this party. I think that it was because the sister was there, but I can't imagine any fucking person in the scouts wouldn't go, oh wait, we have a vehicle, let's drive to somebody who can help and tell them what's happening and where these people are. But no, instead they send the one competent member of their crew, the chick who works at the strip club, who has been toting a shotgun the whole time she's been on screen, and she's gone now. She's out of the movie too. She went to go warn the government. I think she shows back up at the climax, but I don't even remember that part very well. Because the climax is just them all of a sudden deciding they're gonna fucking fight the zombies and beat them. Then they go into this workshop and create a bunch of weapons that have absolutely nothing to do with scouting. Now keep in mind, in this whole movie I haven't seen one instance of them using scouting to fight zombies. Which would be fine if they didn't call the fucking movie The Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. There's a scene where one of the scouts gets his pants and underwear pulled down, and an old lady zombie who's had her dentures knocked out of her teeth just starts gumming his bare ass. You had time for that, but you didn't have time for a single scene of them using their actual scouting training to maybe get the hell out of here. The movie just kept pissing me off. Every scene just pissed me off a little more. Getting through it was tough. It really sucked. I'm getting all fucking heated up about it just talking about this fucking piece of shit movie, man. You got a premise here. You got zombies. You can do whatever you want with that. So you went with scouts. That's fine. But then go with scouts. Don't go with kids trying to get to a high school party and become popular and get out of scouting. There's also one kid who does like scouting, but he's just a fat, dumpy douchebag kid who's kind of stupid. It's bad. Everything about this movie is bad. Let's talk about what I actually did like in the movie. David Koechner, for the few scenes you do see him in, does get a laugh out of me with a couple of his lines. He's a great comedian. And a lot of people would say, I've actually heard this before, a great comedian can make reading the phone book sound funny, and David Koechner is making his garbage writing sound kind of funny. But once he gets zombified, you don't hear any more of those lines until the ridiculously off-putting final scene where you see his severed head, and he just looks at the camera and says, "The end," in his normal, upbeat, fucking David Koechner voice. It's confusing. I don't understand. Did zombies not die when you cut their head off all of a sudden? Was that just a wink to the audience? Be like, hey, none of it's real? It's like, well, we know it's not real. Because you did a bad job of making it seem real, of making it feel real, of making me actually want these characters to survive. It's pretty bummed out in the end when none of the fucking scouts died, because I really wanted all of them to die. They were not interesting or likable characters. Alright. I was trying to talk about what I like about this movie, and I got motherfucking sidetracked again by its awfulness. So that's my bad. Alright? I actually did not mind the acting of the chick toting the shotgun around. But she has nothing to work off, and nobody is like giving her anything to play off of. So once again, shit. I guess that's... So I didn't like anything. I really didn't like a goddamn thing. Not since House of the Dead has a zombie movie disappointed me so entirely. It's one of those where I actually almost kind of recommend you watch it, to be honest. I know it sounds crazy after everything I've just said, but it's kind of interesting to see a fucking zombie movie that just does everything so wrong that you can't even like it for just being a dumb zombie movie. It's offensive. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's good to other people. I don't know. All I know is that if you have any kind of respect for zombie movies or for comedy, this is an interesting thing to see, because it shows what happens when you give a bunch of money to people to make a movie who don't have any respect for zombies or for comedy. I'm gonna wrap it up with that, but I got 2 more reviews to do tonight, so stay tuned for the next one, which is going to be, I believe, yes, American Ultra. Have a good night.